Hey everybody, welcome back. We're doing another Marvel Future Revolution video. This time we've got a special guest, one of my dear close friends I keep close to my heart. I love them very dearly. We're gonna be talking about some incoming changes to one of our favorite modes in the game, everyone's favorite mode in the game, Dark Zone. What does it mean? What's gonna happen? How is it gonna change everything? Okay, so let's go check it out.
Bring me WolverThor!
All right, so I had to bust out the fireplace setting for this, and welcome Mr. Tony Halfson. Thanks for joining us today. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
Good. I appreciate you. Anybody who has not heard of Mr. Halfson, first, you're probably under a rock. You don't, maybe you're not playing MFR, I don't know. Or you've just not walked down the street full of the nicest human beings on earth, which this man is the mayor of. So, great content creator, has been doing a bunch of good stuff for Marvel Future Revolution, doing crazy amounts of deep data dives. So I highly recommend checking out his channel. I'll make sure to put it in the link in the description below. Again, good person. So I highly recommend the content. If you're here, I think you're going to like what he's got to put down over there. So anything else you want to say about yourself a little bit before, or am I overhyping you?
No, you can keep going if you want. I mean, I like what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's like, it's just, I mean, I didn't even write that down. I just feel it. It comes out of my heart naturally. I'm like, this is just here. This is just what comes out of my mouth when I think of you. So, all right. So Dark Zone. Yeah, you and I have talked about this quite a bit recently for, I'd say, some good reasons, some bad reasons, but ultimately I think it's mostly a zone that we enjoy, I think. Well, I mean, do you generally enjoy the zone?
It's okay.
Yeah. Some problems with it.
Yeah, so the juice isn't worth the squeeze for the amount of time you spend in there. It's a lot of time. It's an hour every day on top of, an hour for Blitz, this, that, and the other thing. And I can't tell you that I'm utilizing a lot of resources that I've acquired from that time. So there's that as well.
Yeah, that seems to be the biggest kind of downfall to the zone. While there's a lot of discussion and angst and drama related to the zone, you kind of talk about that point you just made, and it's like, why are we all so worked up about this, right? Yeah. It's like, okay. So now, having said that, there's going to be in the focus of this particular video is we're going to talk about some changes we know coming from the update that we got from the developers. First part, let's talk about and focus is they are now going to make Channel 3 specifically and only PVE. That means player versus environment. Yeah. No PvP at all, right? So, yes. This has been called the, I don't know where this came from, but it's now being called the Care Bear channel.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Do you don't know where that came from? Did it just start getting called that?
No, just people started saying it. Yeah. No idea.
So, high level question, good idea, bad idea? What do you think?
Well, there's a lot of questions I have. Does it also have double points? Mm-hmm. Because let's look at it this way. Let's say it doesn't. Let's say because there's no risk versus reward, that is that they make it normal points where it's not double because there's no PvP. Well, then that means that would be for nothing because literally 22 hours out of the day, Dark Zone is a graveyard. There's nothing going on in it. It's only when there's double points for the 1 hour, 2 times per day in the 3 channels that everyone wants to be in there. So if it were that it was normal, it will be normal points during that time and just Channel 3's PvE all the time, then it kind of was all for naught. If you know what I mean? Just because
that's a good point.
You can go in there whenever you want, and it's basically, if it's not during double points, there's no one in there.
Yeah, and so why wouldn't they just encourage people to do it at that point, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, that makes me think it's definitely going to be double points.
Yeah. So here's the other problem. Let's say it is double points, and again, there's no risk versus reward, and currently these zones have a capacity of 50 players per zone before you have to wait in line for whatever reason, if you die, if you just want to get in. And at that point, you start experiencing some pretty prominent lag. I mean, even half that, you can experience some noticeable lag when everybody's on the same target. So then comes the other part. We have people that can duo in our alliance, can duo and become points leaders if they would like. We can run small groups, and if we want, people can get 5,000, 6,000 points. What's 50 people gang piling on one bad guy? What's that going to feel like? Literally, we can have 15 people, whatever it is, and we can disintegrate primes within a matter of a few seconds.
Yeah.
So now let's up that to 50 people that are all from different alliances. I just feel like, I mean, I guess be careful what you ask for. I don't know how this is going to work either.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's interesting. The double points concept, something we've talked about a little bit. I could see, depending how that shakes out, somebody I feel like is going to be upset because, if you go into the channel 3 and people are able to rack up points, but like you said, there's no risk. And then people in PvP are having to fight people off. It's harder, but they're not getting as many points. They're going, wait a minute, why am I in this zone? It's harder. I'm not getting as many points. I want to go in channel 3. And then it gets congested and then other people can't get in there. And there are people, I want to play PvE. Why are all you normal PvP people coming here? Well, because it's easier to get points in here and I don't have to worry about people messing with me. So this could play out a lot of different ways. And, one of the things that I think has generally been said from like the net marble side of things is they let the players decide. We're going to make kind of a ring, so to speak, a boxing ring, and they're going to go, you guys do what you want in here. We're going to set up these general ground rules. After that, the masses decide what happens. So,
well, the obvious thing is that it because of the double points, they want risk versus reward. They want conflict. Ultimately, because of the alliance mechanic where you're unable to hurt alliance mates or people you're grouped with, it becomes, after a while, it became obvious what the intent here was, and that's that this is an alliance mode.
Yeah.
So what has happened, it happened early and has always happened, in which I assume happens on all the other servers, is that these channels become controlled by specific powerful alliances. And then the people that would like to tag along do so either by being crafty and getting in hits, or they have some sort of relationship like you had with us before you joined.
Yeah, and that seems to be, and even under that, depending on the player, some people are fine. Like when I was in there before I kind of ran with you guys and joined voice and all that, I'd get upset, and there's a certain, anytime I died, and then it was like, well, I sort of understood, like, well, this is a PvP zone, and then there's some people who just understand that and are like, you know what, yeah, I died, I get it, but I'm just going to try to get what I can, whereas there's other people who aren't. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I've got to think, though, a majority of the people who are frustrated by dying in PvP zones, I'm not sure what sort of ground they're going to stand on if they get upset about something. It's like, what else can be done to make that type of player happy if they have multiple PvP, and then a PvE? So, I think the drama will come in depending who goes in what zones. But again, the developers are making this construct or ring for us to decide how we want to play regardless, right? And it's going to shake out however it's going to shake out. Yeah.
And I find this very interesting how this is going to shake out. For us, it's not going to affect us in any way, shape, or form. And I'm happy for people that wanted this option so they don't feel as though their fun is being impeded on by people that are more powerful than they are, which I can empathize with. However, there is the other side of that, which is that the people that want to tag along and hit they want to do it off of the efforts of a collective alliance that's efficiently killing the monsters. So then comes the other part. A lot of the people that want to come in and they're for a lack of better word, stragglers. They're typically by themselves and they want to get a hit on the monster when the alliance is farming it. They're in that dynamic because they don't have a group of people to go in with. So they're relying on that and they get upset when they're killed. But from the alliance's perspective, we have collectively gotten together to farm this efficiently in a certain manner. And if you come in even with basic tags, if there's enough people doing it, you are now in our way of progress.
Yeah.
So it's just really, that's when all the nuances come into play with what the intent is with the, because at the end of the day, it's left up to player interpretation. You know, like, well, in my mind, this is how this is supposed to go. And when it doesn't align with that perspective, now I'm upset. And, you know, it's whatever, such a, but in even our defense, early on, there were alliances that would hunt you the moment you came into the zone. They would hunt you down and kill you. So, but that ironically is the whole point of the zone, which I think people fail to see. You can come in anytime, the other 22 hours of the day, and if you have a collective group together, no one will bother you. I can assure you that.
Yeah. Yeah, and you could get, you know, plenty of points and probably do pretty well. Now, would you definitely, you know, end up in the top 5 or top 3 of Dark Zone? Maybe not, but you can get your cards, you can get decent points, you can maybe end up top 100-ish, you know, and that's not terrible. That's a pretty good way to finish up. So, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely interested to see how it shakes out. I have a feeling that it's going to end up in a situation where you know, that channel is going to become so flooded with people that there's going to be a queue, and people are going to be forced to go into the PvP zones. And we're going to be in a very similar situation where it's kind of like, okay, don't know what to tell. This is all developer talking, like asking for more channels, more things. And so anyway, we'll see. I mean, I'm definitely interested. I am happy that they did it for the sole purpose that there was
just to get away from politics.
Yeah, exactly. There was a clear group of people who were just like, while this might be a PvP zone, I don't want PvP in here. I want to play it my way. This is the way I think it should be, because it's also a PvE zone. It's like, okay, well, you know what? Now that zone is purely PvE. Go there, have fun, do what you want to do. So we'll see if it gets flooded or if there's going to be more PvP in other zones.
I just don't see how this maths out, though, if there's no risk to the internal population of the channel.
Yeah.
So if you cram 50 people in there, your risk of dying, unless they do something with
buffing bosses,
there's how does that shake out? And then here's the other thing, you're going to have to increase the spawn rate. And that's the only way, because currently with PvP and a decent alliance, there's very little risk there. Now let's triple the population and take away the potential of dying and now what? I just don't see how this works. But again, like, you and I aren't people that lean into the desire to we're not into any of that, and this isn't coming from a place of bias either. Our perspective on this is, at the end of the day, we want everyone to have fun. This is just looking at it objectively. Like, it's just an oddly designed zone. I'm just not sure how they're going to pull this off.
I mean, and that's something that I should have said, is like, if you don't know how Halfson and I generally play this area, or you don't know how our, you know, mentalities are as humans or players in this game, he and I are both generally friendly people in the game. We tend not to mess with any other people unless they give us a reason to. Typically we have a pretty long leash with that. He's way more powerful than I am. I'd get pushed around way more than he would, but I still generally, like, I just want to hit the bosses, run around. I enjoy some PvP, but generally I'm like, you know, hey, here's Denitra, come tag the boss, hey, OB-Jam, come over here, tag the boss, no big deal, let's all run together. But, you know, as soon as too many people, like you mentioned earlier, you know, we have an efficiency that we use, or a map and a method that we use where it's very efficient to go through and get a lot of points. As soon as someone starts messing with that, it's like, hey, like, you're now causing us a problem where we're not doing what we should be able to do in here. And it can quickly become, all right, these people are in here messing everything up, we're going to start killing people. Or, you know, there's people who are sniping last shots. All right, nope, that's not what we're going to do here. Like, or someone's coming in there just a straight PvP. So anyway, having said,
we see all of that. Again, it's the purpose is you're supposed to see everything. Their intent is it's supposed to be a sandbox, but ultimately the mechanic beyond is you can't hurt your alliance mates. You come in there collectively with them, and if someone wants to challenge you for the zone, that's their intent, and that's where the risk versus reward comes in. I'm not sure how this works if you take that away, and so I'm going to give you another story too. Monday, I went in there by myself. Sometimes there's mixed signals with who's able to make it during the daytime run. So during daytime, there's also a dark zone is up for double points during the early afternoon. And so I went in there on Monday, and I was by myself, and it started out where it was pretty quiet. So I start working on the bosses, and I'm by myself, and slowly we call them reds, and that's other players coming in. And I was on skulls, which is I had no intent of killing anyone. And just to give you an idea of the dynamic on the primes have about 65 million health. And one of the first primes I killed, I did 45 mil of the damage. So I'm pulling most of the DPS to get the monsters dead. And if because of that, if they're not dying quicker, they will kill players.
Yeah,
I do feel like they've ramped up the damage on the primes, and so as such, I'm doing my best to help the zone collectively kill these bad guys. Well, as I'm doing so, people are jam piling on top of the boss, and you can imagine what's happening at this point. I keep killing people on skulls, not on purpose. So this carries on for, I don't know, probably about 10 minutes in. It happened for about 15 minutes. And I had killed about 23 people at that time, which is a lot. Not on purpose, completely on the PvE setting. And then what happened was, because I was by myself, they started to if their intent was to PvE, it was no longer that. They were trying to kill me. Yeah. So then I'm left in this predicament. Well, now what do? I can take it off. I can put it on swords or balanced and start clearing this place out, and then everybody's going to be mad at me. Yeah. So it was this really weird. It's like I said, it's an oddly constructed dynamic, and their intent is for it to be just whatever happens in there. Yeah. And like I said, when it doesn't align with how other their play style, that's when the problem happens, where the game mode gets very toxic. Yeah. And so yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see how it shakes out. I mean, there's, like you mentioned, PvP in general can be very toxic. Just people getting frustrated, thinking different things, getting beat by somebody else. People generally don't like to lose, and some people are very bad losers, and people are also bad winners. So, you know, we'll see. I mean, one of the things that I will be interested to see how the Channel 3 shakes out, outside of, you know, how many people are in there and who takes it over and all that, is the people in there, they're all going to be fighting for last shots. You know, and what if a few stronger players just go in there and like, yeah, cool, you can't do anything to me. I will never die. I'm going to make sure I get every single prime last hit. Yeah, it's going to come down to a different mechanic, just straight up PvE DPS race, which then also leaves the chance that people could be upset about that. Yep. At the end of the day, you're never going to make everyone happy. And I'm not sure this is, I just would love to see how this shakes out. This is very, very interesting, to say the least. Yeah. And that's why, you know, one of the reasons I wanted to still talk about this now is, you know, as this thing evolves, you know, at some point, maybe I'll go back and look down memory lane and see what it was like back then, and in this stage. But it's going to be interesting. You know, I am excited. You know, I don't know what the overall effect is going to be. I mean, we've got another topic we're going to jump into related to DZ. But with this one, I'm very curious to see how it affects everything overall. And I think it's still to be determined, obviously, because we haven't done it. But I have a feeling that while it's what a lot of people ask for and want, I think that in the end, it's not going to be something that makes a lot of people happy. I think it's going to be, that channel is going to be so jammed. You know, they're going to get people like strong players in there. We're going to go in last shot. And so all these smaller players who wanted to kind of get some stuff easily are going to find they still can't. And that's where it's like, I don't even know what to say or suggest at that point. But
time will tell. So, you know, I alluded to the fact that there's, did you have anything else before I kind of slide us into the next topic?
No, not at all. Go ahead.
Okay. So this slides into, you know, Dark Zone again, but Dark Zone is now going to give us XP. And that XP is going to be for the next game mode that's coming, and that's Invasion. So, you know, Invasion seems to be more than likely the most important game mode that's going to come, and the end game content. There's going to be 5 difficulty levels. You know, I've said in a different video what I hope to happen in that. And, you know, basically long and short of it is I hope difficulty level 5 is hard for someone even like you. That it is, you have to be borderline perfect to get that done. And then when you're in 4, it's a little bit easier, but you're in there with your alliance mates or whatever. And I hope it's not just like a 4-person thing. I hope it's a bigger, you know, you need more than that. But we all need to, whoever you're grouped up with needs to be working in a really good unison coordinated way to even beat level 4. So, and you're going to need some sort of XP to be able to do this invasion mode or something, we'll see. But Dark Zone's going to be giving this XP. So it's going to make the game mode, the Dark Zone game mode, even more contentious, even more important. So, you know, how do you see this kind of shaking up? One, where do you think the XP is going to come from? You know, or do you think it's just going to be, you know, similar to how we get points now?
I think, see, that's a slippery slope, because I was going to say, I think maybe even the trash may or may not, right? Currently, the trash serves no purpose other than an aesthetic feature. The chances of you dying to one of them is wildly low, because they don't typically spawn right next to any of the bosses. They're spaced out just far enough so that's not a problem, but also they serve no purpose for you to kill either. So I was thinking, well, maybe they will make them give some EXP, but then you have the problem that currently they're not challenging and any. So how could you tie an experience value to them? But again, now let's say people are going in there and they have their 1 hour to get experience, and there's 3, 4, or well, let's say there's a group of 4 people that are they hit like Mack trucks and they go in there and they absolutely crush everything. I don't know. I'm interested to see again how this plays out, but yeah, it's a yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's this, like you said, there's a lot of different ways this could play out. I mean, is it going to be, you know, in the other game modes, the XP, you only get it from completing quests essentially. So when you kill, you know, any enemies, I don't even know if it gives you XP. If it is, it's borderline 0. So
yeah, I played the game on auto overnight just to gauge that.
Yeah.
And I got 3% EXP.
Okay.
For, I believe it may have been 11 hours I left it running.
Yeah, that is, I mean, it might as well be 0, right?
Right.
So, you know, whether they give you, you know, points for killing bosses or I'm sorry, if they give you XP for killing bosses, killing the little mini mobs or PvP, or the other option is as many points as you get in there, that's the amount of XP you get. You know, that's, I think as far as simplest way in the game, that's probably an easiest conversion for them, but we'll see. I don't know. I mean, it really ties into this front end that we talked about, where this game mode is at the center of a lot of things. There's granted, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, like you said, putting time in there. But if you need that XP to be able to do the end game mode invasion, I tell you what, like those badges that we get from those boxes, you know, after the week's over, those are going to be an afterthought, like they already are. It's gonna be like, I'm just in there to get XP so I can go do invasion. But again, I mean, we don't know how that'll shake out and what it'll do to it. So, but what do we got? A couple weeks left still until that pops in, I think. End of September, right?
Yeah, if everything goes, I wouldn't be surprised if they postponed it too. But these guys seem to be on the ball so far. I got to give it to them, man. It's a pleasant surprise, given that I've come from Strike Force, where the feeling is generally opposite of this. So.
Yeah,
like I'm not even trying to process it when they give us updates like the one that we woke up to the other day, and They seem to actually really genuinely care about our experience.
I would tend to agree. It's early, and I'm a type of person who tries to stay pretty even keeled. Like, let's wait and see. And I celebrate when I get the winning touchdown in a game and it's over and the clock hits 0.
Yeah.
Nothing before that. But yeah, I would agree. When I saw that I'll call it a post, blog post. It's not a blog, but patch notes, whatever. I was stoked. I'm like, this is heading in the right direction. I like their mindset. And there's been a lot of stuff like that leading up to this as well. So, my fingers are crossed. You and I have talked about this before. Like, we're really into this game. It's, it seems like it's got a very, very bright future. And I think even if this Dark Zone stuff stumbles a little bit, I still feel pretty optimistic about, how it'll shake out in the long run.
Yeah, agreed.
So, all right. Well, what else? I mean, that's pretty much all we have for this one. Is there anything else that you want to kind of hit before we get out of here, DZ related, or anything that kind of broaches that specific topic?
No, I think we did a pretty good job.
Cool. Fantastic job.
I can see more videos about this being inspired in the future, just because it feels too good to be true for everyone involved, and so. Like I said, the math isn't there for some of this. Like, how is this going to shake out? But I'm excited to see, and I hope it brings a lot more happiness in how people play the game from here. So there's less things for people to be upset about, as far as Dark Zone is concerned. I'm with you. And if anybody's watching, comment below or hit us up on Discord if you've got any interest in sharing your opinion. Like Tony said, there's probably many, many more conversations to have about this in the future. So, Tony, you want to shout out any socials or anything, or give a wife or a kitty cat or anything some love before we bounce out of here? Yeah, just find me on Discord or here on YouTube or the Twitches. Sometimes we're on the Twitches doing the Twitch things. Yep, he's been doing real well there. Hang out with us live. WolverThor's in mine. I'm in his quite often, and we try to be good noodles. Yeah. So the noodles are the goodness around here, that's for sure. So appreciate you coming by. I'll definitely have some of those socials in the description below. Again, check Halfsend out on all of those different platforms. Wonderful dude, wonderful human being. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Check out the Discord link for the WolverThor stuff in the description below as well. Hammer down on like buttons, notification bells, subscription buttons. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.